Why not? A little early. So why don't we get started? I think it's 7. I don't know, it might be a little early, but anxious to get started. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jocelyn O'Zolins. Thank you very much for coming tonight. A little bit about the Shelter Islander Poetry Project. For those who aren't familiar with it, it was started by poet Bliss Morehead, who curated it for many years. And last year, Bliss's husband, Mike Zisser, established a grant in her name. And this is the 2nd year of the grant. And I want to start out by thanking everyone involved in the project. The judges, Irene Cornell, who's here, Charity Roby, who couldn't make it tonight, and Virginia Walker, who also had a conflict, as well as the readers, and of course all the poets who entered. And it was a very strong year. And Charity sent something that she wanted read, so I'm being Charity now. As one of the judges, I'm sorry I can't be with you tonight, but I want to congratulate poets. It was a joy to read the poems submitted for the Bliss Morehead Poetry Grant. I read some of them again and again, verses written in rhyming couplets describing a flower that unfolded like slow-motion photography, a sad and joyful account of taking care of an elderly relative, a mysterious and ambiguous poem that was possibly about an article of clothing, but was certainly about God. All great poems, and yet these were not even the 4 poems that stood apart from the others that we recognize tonight. And it was Bliss Morehead who made it all happen. It has been an honor to read the work that Bliss Morehead's generosity has inspired. Her grant is a catalyst for those talented writers to express themselves so beautifully, and we're all the better for it. And that's from Charity. And so now we'll start out with Joanne Kirkland, last year's winner, who will make a statement, and then we'll hear from the winning poets, and then we'll do the reading, the regular reading. So, Joanne.
I remember the moment so clearly last year when Jocelyn called me from the library and said, "Joanne, you won." Such wonder and joy in her voice, knowing she was the bearer of exciting and happy news. I just won the first Bliss Morehead Poetry Grant. Before entering this poem in the contest, I hadn't written a poem since I was a teenager. I didn't forget how. What an honor it was to win this award. Everywhere are your works alone, and with that isolation is the constant worry that you're writing into the void. I had so many people congratulate me to ask me if there was more. It was an exciting time. But the most important part of winning the award was that I was writing poetry again, discovering what I loved about the joy of cramming as much experience, emotion, and longing into just a few lines. The editor in me loved cutting away the excess words. I took a deeply personal and horrifying experience, tried to make sense of it, and then let it go. I wrote a poem every day for a month, and then life and the summer season intervened, and my personal writing dropped off. When the call for submissions came back around this year, I wasn't going to enter, and I figured, why not? So I began writing again, and I'm still writing. This is the ongoing gift of the Bliss Morehead Poetry Grant. All of those poets, whether they won or not, sat down and wrote something important and meaningful. They made themselves laugh or cry, and they created art. Thank you to Bliss, to Mike Zisser, who set up the award in her memory, and congratulations to this year's winner, Devin Tatarn, one of my son's favorite teachers at the Shelter Islander.
Favorite student.
Joanna, could you come and have these poems, please? Thanks.
Then and Now by Edie Cassidy. Translucent sighing water flows beneath. As the night falls, a whole new world comes out. I dive down again. I keep looking back, secretly hoping to see a shark. Chills trickle down my body, maybe from the chilly water, more likely from the unknown abyss surrounding me. 2 golden ovals peer behind a rock. He's happy to see I'm back. I make my way towards him as I embrace the busy city around me. The sound of the tigerfish munching away, the stinging sensation as I brush against a fire coral, the greeting from a guppy as he nudges me on my foot. Their hospitality makes me feel at home. I hoped for a few more years. I hoped that I would see that world again. I didn't want to say goodbye yet. Now I tread above the barren reef. I keep looking down. I smile at a passing guppy, but feel a little empty inside. The crackling sounds of a life are long gone. Now the lifeless coral is covered in thick algae. I wait for my friend to come out from behind the rock. I get closer, but I know he will never come. The shelter he carefully crafted with all 8 arms now houses a red soda cap and a smashed cigarette butt. I surface and look down again. I can't see anything but my grieving reflection in the water. The shores, now barren, cry for help. Each wave crashes, reaching out to a human who will come to save it. Each hurricane a cough coming from the congested lungs. Each earthquake a rage stirring inside her. Each tsunami a new heap of tears gushing down her face. Who is going to tell her? Those who care are dismissed, and the rest live in ignorant bliss. We take what we want, die, and wish the next generation good luck with cleaning up our mess. We love our children and grandchildren enough to give them a seaside home, but don't give a single damn that it will be submerged in 50 years. Is there even still a chance to change? Or is it an excuse we tell ourselves to put off action for another few decades? Less consistency than your auntie's yo-yo diet, less commitment than her cheating husband, more climate agreements broken than bones in an amateur hockey game, short-term gains for long-term destruction. Our veins continue to pump greed as our only home weekly leads.
It feels wrong to read off a phone poetry. I should have printed something, and I meant to, which is the story of most of my writing life. I meant to. So thank you to everyone involved, and that's all they told me I could say. So the poem is Trading Tenses. In the past, or so they tell me, there will be less noise, fewer sidewalks, and funnier jokes on television. Go back far enough, and you won't even have to fiddle with the TV to be entertained. There will simply be serial dramas bursting from tinny speakers for a time, before the mighty pen and these novel inventions called penny rags and proper poetry will be all the rage. I will try to explain this to my daughters. See, I'll say, isn't that something to look forward to? Won't bluer skies and fewer toxic fumes be a marvel when we take our weekly walk to sit and talk on our island's least busy beach on Sunday afternoons? I'll try, but probably just get back the usual sighs. And if I'm lucky, their patented version of rolling their eyes, which, like the rest of us, when we will be teens, they will be certain they discover. It's the future they are focused on. Their memories of skinny buildings better described as space scrapers because of how high they dare to climb. The ease with which they could order cheap dinner from their phones and have someone bring it right to their pod. You could even, they remind me, pay the delivery drone extra to place a slice of protein pizza on a recyclable plate at your elbow and never have to leave your virtual game. Then my girls will be off, whooping and chasing stately gulls, and making outrageous one-of-a-kind dolls with seaweed hair and cracked crab shells for bikini tops. They will wave at the ghosts who keep the lights in the empty lighthouse and beg me for a driftwood fire to keep them warm as we wait for a red-ringed sailor's moon to rise. Later, there will be the usual demand, couched as wheedling, needling requests for something like a story to end the evening. I should tell them to look forward to the past, that they have everything backwards in how they want to see the world. But I remember my grandfather softly telling me to flip my world like a coin and just see things the right way down. I know it's simply a matter of perspective, that to them I'm suffering from inversion confused by the signs along the causeway and meandering in the wrong direction, like Merlin in King Arthur's court, slowly growing younger on the outside while everyone else chases the grave. I would tell them, but maybe I'm finally young enough at heart to know that it's not a matter of forward or backward, of who is right or who is wrong, or even which time is better. Their science fiction or my dusty history tone. All that matters is the barest hint of snow, just now diffusing into the evening air, the murmur of waves gossiping on the beach, and the gift of smiles from my little girls is all I really need, right here and right now.
Next.
Future past tense. If I close my eyes as I walk along the dusty path, listening for the grasses and trees whispering, I return to my 11-year-old self on my way to my grandmother's house. We share tea, bird watching, play canasta, a summer afternoon. I wish for a moment that I could vanish here and be there, in the past, in my child body, in my child mind, with my grandmother, who saw past my failings and loved me, despite my prickly self. I think, I love you. But that message is future to her past. Now I ponder my granddaughter who walked down the lane some shining summer day and wonder why she never told me how much we shared. My future, her past. Time should be more elastic for our human hearts.
And now Devin Caharn, the winner of the grant.
I can't believe I have to read after those. Those are actually, oh my gosh. Okay, this is the roller coaster. You scream, desperate, primal, simply id, Freud would say. This sets my new mother's heart thumping, breasts leaking. Enjoy it, time goes by so quickly, she says. Which part? The insecurity? Inadequacy? The tisks from well-meaning strangers that I forgot your hat? This is our first outing. I leave the groceries on the belt. You refuse to be patient. I begin to cry. The little plastic barnyard is strewn across the rug. It should probably be wooden, non-toxic. No matter. You like the red rooster, the brown pony. You love peaches. Sticky juice covers your chin, dripping down onto your baby's belly. We giggle, run, play, love. Should you be learning Spanish? Your classmate is deaf. You have become a pair. You read his story. The roller coaster bumped on the tracks. There was a scream in my throat. To a classroom full of wide-eyed parents. His hand on your shoulder, your face scarlet. Your classmate beams, as do I. Tears flow weeks later. He's moving. What will he do without you, you ask? With the development of the superego, our hearts hurt for each other, Freud would say. You take French. Why is it so hard? You ask for help, you need it. Kitchen table hours pass. Pencils break. Flashcards scatter. I'm sorry, you say. I love you, I say. Nous sommes fatigués. Your feet, overlarge, stomp down the stairs. You grumble, ugh, not that for breakfast. And you rush for the door. Take a peach, I call. Nah, you mutter. Your car keys jangle as the door slams. I stand alone in the kitchen. What comes next? The countdown has begun. The door will close behind you, and time will stretch out in front of me. Did I do okay? Will you be okay? The future will be filled with a different type of tears, a different type of laughter. The sounds will echo.
So, congratulations. The poem struck all of us in so many ways. And there is your giant check.
I think this is like a childhood dream. Isn't this like game
They can't capture. Congratulations.
So now we'll start the second part of the program, and starting off with Roz Diamond reading.
The poem is a dream telling you it's time, by Marwa Halal. Is a field as long as the butterflies say it is a field? With their flight, it takes a long time to see, like light or sound or language, to arrive and keep arriving. We have more than sixth sense dialect, and I am still adjusting to time, the distance and its permanence. I have found my shortcuts and landmarks to place where I first took form, in the field.
The Past by Emily Dickinson. The past is such a curious creature. To look her in the face, a transport may reward us, or a disgrace. Unarmed, if any meet her, I charge him, fly, her rusty ammunition, mighty yet reply.
Next is Joanne Kirkland.
Love After Love by Derek Walcott. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life.
Harry Lucas is next.
Ozymandias by Percy Bysshe Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Oh, look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing besides remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
And Lois Morris.
Threshold by Maggie Smith. You want a door you can be on both sides of at once. You want to be on both sides of here and there, now and then, together and, what did we call the life we would wish back? The old life? The before? Alone. That any open space may be a threshold, an arch of entering and leaving, crossing a field, wading through nothing but timothy grass. Imagine yourself passing from and into, passing through doorway after doorway after doorway.
Robert Lake say.
Days by Philip Larkin. What are days for? Days are where we live. They come, they wake us, time and time over. They're to be happy in. Where can we live but in days? So solving that question brings the priest and the doctor in a long coat running over the fields.
One Day by Marie Howe. One day, the patterned carpet, the folding chairs, the woman in the blue suit by the door examining her split ends, all of it will go on without me. I'll have disappeared as easily as a coin under lake water, and few to notice the difference. A coin dropping into the darkening, and West 4th Street, the sesame noodles that taste too much like peanut butter, lowered into the small white paper carton, all of it will go on. And the eye that caused me so much trouble, nowhere. Or grit thrown into the garden or into the sticky bodies of several worms. Or just gone, stopped, like the Middle Ages. Like the coin Whitman carried in his pocket all the way to that basement. Bar on Broadway that isn't there anymore. Oh, to be in Whitman's pocket on a cold winter day. To feel his large, warm hand slide in and out and in again. To be taken hold of by Walt Whitman. To be exchanged. To be spent for something somebody wanted and drank and found delicious.
From the Book of Hours by Rainer Maria Rilke. I love the dark hours of my being, for they deepen my senses. In them, as in hold letters, I find my daily life already lived. In holy words, so soft and subdued. From them, I've come to know that I have room for a second life, timeless and wide. And at times I'm like the tree, ripe and rustling, standing above the dead boy's grave, gathering him in its warm roots, fulfilling the dream he'd lost in sorrows and songs.
Elaine by William Carlos Williams. Poised for the leap she's not yet ready for, save in her eyes. Her bare toes staring over the clipped lawn where she may not go, emphasize summer and the curl of her blonde hair. The tentative smile for the adult plans laid to trap her, calves beginning to flex, wrists set for the getaway.
Sonnet 50, How Heavy Do I Journey on the Way, by William Shakespeare. How heavy do I journey on the way, when what I seek, my weary's travel ends, doth teach that ease and that repose to say, thus far the miles are measured from thy friend. The beast that bears me, tired with my woe, plods dully on, to bear that weight in me, as if by some instinct the wretch did know his rider loved not speed, being made from thee. The bloody spur cannot provoke him on, that sometimes anger thrusts into his hide, which heavily he answers with a groan, more sharp to me than spurring to his side. For that same groan doth put this in my mind, my grief lies onward, and my joy behind.
Born, living, will die by Kimon Felix. Sometimes I think I'm never going to write a poem again, and then there's a full moon. I miss being in love, but I miss myself most when I'm gone. In the salty, wet air of my ancestry, my auntie peels a mango with her teeth, and I'm no longer writing political poems. Because these are mangoes, and my favorite memory is still alive. I'm digging for meaning but haunted by purpose, and it's an insufficient approach. What's the margin of loss on words not spent today? I'm getting older. I'm buying smaller images to travel light. I wake up, I light up, I tidy, and it's all over now.
A Celebration of Surviving by Chuck Miller. When senselessness has pounded you around the ropes and you're getting too old to hold out for the future, no work, running out of money, then you make a try after something that you know you won't get, and this long shot comes through on the stretch. Photo finish of your heart's trepidation. Then, for a while, even when the chill factor of these prairie winters puts it at 50 below, you're warm and have that old feeling of being a comer, although belated in the crazy game of life. Standing in the winter light, emptying the garbage, and looking at the stars, you realize that although the odds are fantastically against you, when that single January shooting star flung its wad in the maw of night, it was yours. And though the years are edged with crime and squalor, that second wind, or 23rd, is coming strong. And for a time, perhaps a very short time, one lives as though in a golden envelope of light.
I go back to May 1937 by Sharon Olds. I see them standing at the formal gates of their colleges. I see my father strolling out under the ochre sandstone arch, the red tiles glinting like bent plates of blood behind his head. I see my mother with a few light books at her hip, standing at the pillar made of tiny bricks, with the wrought iron gate still open behind her, its sword tips black in the May air. They are about to graduate. They are about to get married. They are kids. They are dumb. All they know is they are innocent. They would never hurt anybody. I want to go up to them and say, stop, don't do it. She's the wrong woman. He's the wrong man. You're going to do things you cannot imagine you would ever do. You're going to do bad things to children. You're going to suffer in ways you never heard of. You are going to want to die. I want to go up to them there in the late May sunlight and say it. Her hungry, pretty, blank face turning to me. Her pitiful, beautiful, untouched body. His arrogant, handsome, blind face turning to me. His pitiful, beautiful, untouched body. But I don't do it. I want to live. I take them up like the male and female paper dolls and bang them together at the hips like chips of flint, as if to strike sparks from them. I say, do what you are going to do, and I will tell about it.
After Many Springs by Langston Hughes. Now, in June, when the night is a vast softness filled with blue stars, and broken shafts of moon glimmer fall upon the earth, am I too old to see the fairies dance? I cannot find them anymore.
Remember by Joy Harjo. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know that each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and giving away to the night. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father, he is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are, red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth, we are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life who all gave their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them, they are alive poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice, she knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people, and all people are you. Remember you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember language comes from this. Remember the dance language is, that life is. Remember.
Indian Summer by Dorothy Parker. In youth, it was a way I had to do my best to please and change with every passing lad to suit his theories. But now I know the things I know, and do the things I do. And if you do not like me so, to hell, my love, with you.
Do I have to follow that? The Big Clock by Lee Young Lee. When the big clock at the train station stopped, the leaves kept falling, the trains kept running, my mother's hair kept growing longer and blacker, and my father's body kept filling up with time. I can't see the year on the station's calendar. We slept under the stopped hands of the clock until morning. When a man entered, carrying a ladder, he climbed up the clock's face and opened it with a key. No one but he knew what he saw. Below him, the mortal faces went on passing. Were all compass points. People went on crossing borders, buying tickets in one time zone and setting foot in another, crossing thresholds, sleep to waking and back, waiting room to moving train and back, war zone to safe zone and back, crossing between gain and loss, learning new words for the world and the things in it, forgetting old words for the heart and the things in it, and collecting words in a different language for those three primary colors: staying, leaving, and returning. And only the man at the top of the ladder understood what he saw behind the face, which was neither smiling nor frowning. And my father's body went on filling up with death until it reached the highest etched mark of his eyes and spilled into mine. And my mother's hair goes on, never reaching you.
This is our final poem, Nostalgia by Billy Collins. Remember the 1340s? We were doing a dance called Catapult. You always wore brown, the color craze of the decade, and I was draped in one of those capes that were popular, you know, the ones with unicorns and pomegranates and needlework. Everyone would pause for beer and onions in the afternoon, and at night we would play a game called Find the Cow. Everything was hand-lettered then, not like today. Where has the summer of 1572 gone? Brocade and sonnet marathons were the rage. We used to dress up in the flags of rival baronies and conquer one another in cold rooms of stone. Out on the dance floor, we were all doing the struggle, while your sister practiced the Daphne all alone in her room. We borrowed the jargon of farriers for our slang. These days, language seems transparent, a badly broken code. The 1790s will never come again. Childhood was big. People would take walks to the very tops of hills and write down what they saw in their journals without speaking. Our colors were high and our hats were extremely soft. We would surprise each other with alphabets made of twigs. It was a wonderful time to be alive, or even dead. I am very fond of the period between 1815 and 1821. Europe trembled while we sat still for our portraits. And I would love to return to 1901, if only for a moment, time enough to wind up a music box and do a few dance steps. Or shoot me back to 1922 or 1941. Or at least let me recapture the serenity of last month when we picked berries and glided through afternoons in a canoe. Even this morning would be an improvement over the present. I was in the garden then, surrounded by the hum of bees and the Latin names of flowers, watching the early light flash off the slanted windows of the greenhouse and silver the limbs on the rows of dark hemlocks. As usual, I was thinking about the moments of the past, letting my memory rush over them like water, rushing over the stones on the bottom of a stream. I was even thinking a little about the future, that place where people are doing a dance we cannot imagine, a dance whose name we can only guess.
So that's it, and I think Bliss would be very happy if she could see this, and thank you to everyone, readers, and the poets who won the awards. Thank you so much.
Thank you.